Good evening, students, teachers, and parents of Kudrati International School, Pune. We are back with our expert talk series, and this is the third session with Miss Habiba Kudrati, and she's the guest for today evening. I'm really glad and privileged to welcome her to the third session. Welcome, Habiba.
Thank you so much, Ishita.
I shall not again rephrase that she is a developmental and career counselor. She has a postgraduate diploma and has been associated with the school with our adolescent education program. And we've already done two sessions discussing about the children's emotional outbursts, and one session dedicated completely to the fathers and how they can be such a great role model in their child's life. Now, today, continuing the same topic, the topic which we are talking about is conscious parenting and crafting your child's emotional well being. In continuation with our talk of previous week, it is very, very important that a parent or an adult in the child's life has the awareness or the consciousness of his own emotional well-being before he can assist a child or can craft the child's emotional well-being. So, Habiba, over to you. Now, you really have to throw some light and assist our parent community here and tell them how do you get them to become conscious, aware, and mindful about their own emotions.
So, Ishita, let's begin the session. Before I start talking about various strategies, etc., etc. First, let's understand why is this important. Okay, because first we need to understand, then only we'll be able to take actions. So, let us first understand why this is important. Why are we today moving our focus from the children to the parents, right? And let's understand this with a short story.
All
Okay, so
right.
I have right. Now, so there is a man, he's walking in the forest with his family, his wife, and his children. They have been walking for days together and in search of food, water. They don't have any more stock left in hand, and they've just been walking. They walk a little further and they see an ashram. आश्रम देखते हैं तो वहां पे रुक जाते हैं and they go there and they see the Brahmin sitting over there and they ask him that मेरे को थोड़ा सा पानी दे दो मेरे बच्चों के लिए और मेरी बीवी के लिए. So the Brahmin says के देखो पानी तो इतना नहीं है कि मैं सबको दे दूं मगर पास में एक नदी है. आई विल शो यू द वे टू द नदी. तुम जाके वहां पानी भर के आओ. Your wife and your children can sit in my ashram and they can rest over here while you get for them water. So इसे मैं पानी आपके पास गरा नहीं है तो मैं आपको दे देता हूँ गरा. तो इसे नहीं मेरे पास तो है गरा. तो इसे ठीक है तो फिर आप पानी लेके आइए. ये रास्ता है जहाँ से ऐसे जाना है. तो वो निकल पड़ता है बीवी और बच्चों को उधर बैठा के. इसे आप इधर बैठो मैं जाके पानी लेके आता हूँ. अब वो पानी लेने जाता है नदी तक पहुंच जाता है पानी भर लेता है. ऑन हिज वे बैक रास्ते में उनको कुछ लोग दिखते हैं ऐसे ही बैठे हुए होते हैं बहुत प्यास से हालत बुरी हो रही है. ओके सो दे आर वेरी थर्स्टी एंड ही टेल्स देम दे टेल हिम दैट प्लीज मुझे थोड़ा सा पानी पिला दो हम नहीं तो मर जाएंगे. तो वो क्या करता है दैट ही सेज अच्छा ठीक है आई हैव गॉट वाटर सो आई विल मेक यू ड्रिंक. तो वो लोग को पानी पिलाता है बट देयर आर सो मेनी ऑफ देम दैट ही गोज टू एंड फ्रो फ्रॉम द रिवर टू गेट वाटर फॉर देम. Ultimately, he quenches everybody's thirst, fills his gada again, and he goes towards the ashram. So when he reaches the ashram, he sees that his wife and his children are dead. Okay, and he tells the Brahman कि क्या हुआ इन लोगों को ये. तो the Brahman says तुम कितना देर से आ रहे हो कहाँ रह गए थे. What took you so long to get water? So he narrated the whole thing that there were people on the road and they were dying of thirst, right? And I took some time because I was giving them water. So he then said that what was the ideal situation? तुम उसको जैसे मैंने तुमको नदी का रास्ता दिखा दिया, right? तुम भी उसको नदी का रास्ता दिखा सकते थे, right? तुम क्यों उसको पानी पिलाने बैठ गए? मेरे पास भी पानी थी, right? Even I had the water. But what did I show you? I showed you the river. Before we can go out to help anybody, we need to first help ourselves, right? And even in the basic thing, when we go in the aeroplane, and when they give us those safety measures, what do they say?
Right. Right.
First put on your oxygen mask, then help the others, then help your
Correct.
child, right?
Correct.
That is the importance of your emotional well-being. If you're not emotionally stable, you will never be able to bring up an emotionally stable child,
Very
right?
true.
So that is why we are today spending this 1 hour of our talk on adults' emotional well-being. And we generally adults feel that our emotional well-being, सबके लाइफ में स्ट्रेस होता है, हमारे लाइफ में भी स्ट्रेस है, but we don't take it out on our children. हमारे बच्चों पे कुछ नहीं निकलता है. We know how to distinguish between work stress, house stress with our children. Does it really happen? Are we able,
No.
are we able to compartmentalize that? Oh, oh ठीक है, अटेंशन जोन, बच्चे हैं सामने, अभी हमें इमोशंस नहीं एक्सप्रेस करने हैं. Are we able
Mm.
to do that, right? So we are subconsciously adding a lot of a lot of our stresses onto our children, right? And
Yeah. And Habiba, when you said that, you said a statement here that as adults, parents accept that certain amount of stress, certain amount of tension because of various things, and as in the adult life is natural, is normal. And I don't kind of manifest it in with the child, but it is part of his personality. He is talking on the phone, he
yes,
is showing it in his body language, he
true,
is expressing it with other family members. Many a times there are unsaid emotions which would reflect in the form of irritation and other things. So it's a personality package. If you are happy, you spread that vibration of happiness. If you are irritated, you're bugged and you are tense, you spread that. So that consciousness has to be generated. So most important is, my question is, how do I get the adult here aware?
hmm,
First is the awareness, the acceptance that yes, I am mad at something, I'm angry about something, I'm frustrated about something, I have a lot of dislikes all around. Not necessarily I'm doing what with whom. That's
exactly,
just a projection that I'm trying to put. But
right,
let's first be aware. So as you said with that beautiful story, in the process of helping everybody else, he forgot the priority.
yes,
All right, so we may think I have to get this thing done for my child, get that thing done for the family, and I'm fulfilling all my responsibilities. So once in a while, if I just lose my temper, how does it matter?
right, true,
Yeah.
first. And the parent and relationship is the only relationship where major emotions are transferred through body language.
Yes.
So the mother says, I can understand by the look of my child what he's going through, right? Similarly, by the look of you, your child can understand what my mother is going through. So there are words which are minimized in this relationship, right? And this is not a one way traffic. So it's not only that you as parents understand your children in that way, the children also understand you in this way only, right? And that's how the child has been understanding you when he didn't even know how to speak. So this is the basis of a parent relationship. And yes, you are right that initial is the awareness that yes, I can also be emotionally unstable. That is the awareness that
Mm.
I can also be not, today can just not be my day, right?
Yeah.
If you have that awareness that yes, today is not my day and I need to slow down,
Mm.
acceptance and then the acknowledgement is going to come later.
Right.
Okay, so what we are doing is that we are not even wanting to accept that yes, I am in a foul mood today.
Hmm.
Okay, the reasons could be multiple. I don't want to get into the reasons, but yes, there are reasons. And at that point of time, what would you do? Okay, if suppose I'm having a bad day today, right? What is the ideal way of saying that yes, I have a bad day? Do I make an announcement in the house that listen, it's a bad day? No, right? We don't have that announcement, right? But if suppose I know that I have displaced my anger, my frustration on something else,
Hmm.
then acknowledging it that yes, I was upset, I have displaced it. So it's just been a bad day. I'm sorry if I bothered you, I've hurt you. It's a simple funda, right? We don't have to say that you can't cover up, you can't say sorry, you can't say that no, this is what is the need. And if what if your child, so the next question then comes, what if my child asks me, why are you upset?
Hmm.
Right? So he will, out of curiosity, he'll say, okay, fine, I understand you're upset, but can I know why you're upset? And now just imagine you have had a tiff with your mother-in-law and you don't want to tell him that, right? But obviously you don't want to tell him that. And then how are you going to make up an excuse and say that why are you upset, right? So at that point of time, you just have to say that I'm upset. There are things which have made me upset. Okay,
Right.
things which probably I could have ignored, but I've not been able to ignore, right? And those things are really not important. What is important is yes, that I'm upset and I need some me time to get over this. Communication. For every relationship, communication is very important. And if we also communicate with our child, it's going to be so much easier. Okay.
Yes.
Another thing is that if you're aware that today is not a great day for me, try minimal conversation with your child. Don't go in front of him and don't get irritated about the smallest thing. You'll wonder that every day she has no problem. Today she has a problem with my room being in a mess, my books not being done properly. She has a problem with everything.
Right.
you know so that's where we will have to understand, but this only will come if I am acknowledging and I'm aware that yes, today is not a great day.
And one more important point that I want to drive in, Habiba, is like whenever, as an adult, or especially as a parent who's a responsible person in the household, he knows there is a negative flow of emotion within your self. It is okay to acknowledge it, but not put blames on all the triggers. Like the
Right.
trigger could be a person, a situation, the trigger could be our own shortcomings, many, many things. Okay. But the moment we start demonstrating that, oh, this was not right, that didn't happen, this is what happened, and sometimes we may not be directly telling it to the child, but we speak loud or on telephone or to our partners or things like that. So what does the child also do? The child thinks every time I am not okay,
I
he's
can
the
lash
reason,
out.
she's the reason, this is the reason, this is the reason, and there begins that journey for the child.
Yes.
There is no accountability for how I feel.
Right.
So,
True.
when I'm asking you awareness, I think each parent needs to understand why awareness. And very
Yes.
soon, the child itself turns and says, Daddy, because of you, my mood is off today. So,
Right.
and the mother and the father may have tears and they may be like, what did we go wrong with?
Exactly. Of course. And they are learning from you only, right? So when they're learning from you, they know that okay, fine. So it is okay to lash out at anybody, even if it's not their fault, if you're in a bad mood. So if they've had a bad day in school, they will come and they will lash out at you. But you
Correct.
won't be okay with it because you feel that that is disrespect,
Hmm.
right? So that is another way in which the children are learning from you, and that is why you need to get more mindful about your own emotions, right? Now when I'm talking about just getting mindful about emotions, we can go on and we can go on playing the blame game, and I'm sure parents will turn back and say, oh, it's so easy for you to say something like this, but at that point of time you are not in control of yourself. Agreed, you're not in control of yourself. So then how do we get in control of ourselves?
Yes.
That's important.
Yes.
And what is each individual's aim in life to be? What would be their aim? Their aim is to be happy, right? Now, we find happiness in things. We find happiness in others. We forget how to find happiness in our own selves, right?
Right.
So, before you can live for your husband or you can live for your child, learn how to live for yourself.
That's very, very important.
Yes. And in this whole process of being the perfect mother and the most ideal wife, we forget to live as a human being yourself,
Yes.
right? So I often ask myself that what is Habiba? What is Habiba without a surname Kudrati in it? Remove the name Kudrati, and what does Habiba stand for? That's my identity. Without a tag of a surname, without a tag of a middle name, right? So that's where we have to get in, that look out about things that make us happy, right? And we can have a list of things that can make us happy. So I often see with mothers, this is one trait of mothers I simply don't like, so if you'll ask them, they will go out of their way to make their husband's favorite meal. Okay, they will go out of their way to make their child's favorite meal. Have they ever made their favorite meal? No, that's not it.
Rather if the family goes out and she's all by herself, she won't choose to cook. She
Exactly.
would eat the leftovers,
True.
saying who will take the pain.
Exactly. Exactly. So when you can do things for others, you just, and even when we go out for for a dinner on Sundays, it's always asked that the children will decide where they want to go. So my children like eating pizzas and McDonald's and burgers. I don't like eating them. Oh, but my children like it. I'll do it for my child, right? You are not giving yourself that self love. You're not giving yourself any acknowledgement that, yes, I'm there for you, right? So, that is another key which piles on to you not being happy.
And also, again, as a role model for the child perceives that it is absolutely perfect to override somebody else's choices, their own identities. If, and that they start applying with their peer group. And
Yeah.
much later, they'll do it with the parents also. I mean,
Well,
you may have your exclusive choice or your own me time, and if the child is growing up watching mommy or daddy having their own me times or following their own hobbies or passions, or as you said, food choice or anything, a travel choice or anything, and that could be a balanced approach done with the family, then they also start respecting mom's or dad's individual identities, and
true.
they start doing that with their peer groups as well, isn't
Exactly.
it? Yeah, but later, if that doesn't happen and if they feel that everybody in the home is only catering to their needs, they too grow up to be haughty and arrogant and don't cater to people's needs.
Exactly. So, small example, okay, about cooking. The other is small example, I say, of the remote control of the television. Means you will never get the remote control, and as a mom you will never ask also that please shift to the channel because I want to see something. It's always about what you like. It's always okay, the children are there, they want to watch their cartoon, they want to watch their, once the husband comes he wants to watch his sports channel, but then where are you? So wherever the time that you get, you want to do that, but that's not giving yourself on a priority, right? So
Yeah.
I often ask people this question, that who's this one person who's going to be with you till you die?
Yeah.
Which can guarantee say that yes, this person is going to be with me till I die.
It's only me, myself, nobody else.
And that person is being kicked, is being neglected, is being ignored. Every time that little self inside you says, hey, let's do this. Oh, shut up, I've got 10 other things to do.
Right.
And we just often just let go of it. right?
Yes.
I feel that this is one of the reasons why there is so much of irritation with the parents with very, very little things about their children. And remember that if you're irritated, you will never be able to become a conscious parent because your
And
conscience is
And
cluttered.
when you say irritation, it becomes a habit. I mean, you would try, and not necessarily with the child. You know, you may get irritated with a television program, with something that you read on your mobile, and then it becomes a pattern in your response behavior,
Right.
right? And that gets exhibited and passed on to the child himself, though you may think, I have not done it consciously.
Yes. True. Very
So this again is part of the awareness that you're talking about.
course. So just invest time in yourself. Do at least one thing that you like doing every single day. And that is not out of choice. It's not that, okay, if I get time, I'll read a book. No, it's a conscious effort. I will take out time to read that book. This is my time. I am not compromising on my time.
True.
Everything else can wait. Stop thinking that because without you, this whole world is going to cripple down. It is not going to happen
No,
like
nothing. Yeah.
things will happen. People are going to survive and they're going to respect it. And that's what you want your children to also understand and respect other people's time,
True.
other people's choices, right? So, this is a very small way in which you can help yourself taking charge of your emotions.
Right. And
That's
when we talk about emotions, Habiba, a parent or a teacher or anybody cannot preach or cannot give knowledge in any form and say, oh, you must do this way and you may think this way and you must feel this way. It is something that we start feeling as we are growing and as we are living. And whatever we feel around us is what we become.
of course. And you know that I believe in the must and the shoulds. There is
Yes.
shoulds, right?
Yes.
So this is not what we believe in. There is nothing that it should happen and it has to happen, and you know, and it's not only with the children. Parents start telling these shoulds and must to themselves also. I should be able to get my child to do this. I where is
Yes.
where is it that you is it your personal achievement? Are your children your social medals that you would want to wear and flaunt?
Yes.
Why is that child not respected? See, you know what will happen. We'll very soon move towards a child centric because that takes my heart away when I see the child not living their childhood.
Hmm.
I look at myself and I say my parents didn't even bother and care at the age of 6 or 7 what the hell
Yes.
I was doing.
This is something, it's living your childhood
Yeah,
is, it's not holding the child in cotton swabs and saying, I'm doing the best for you. Don't
yeah.
put your feet in the dirt. Right? So that's the emotion that the mother or the father needs to be aware of, right?
Exactly, exactly. And that's what, so there is no, we are not running a race where you want to come in first. It's not that. Generally parents are not okay about their children making mistakes, right? And I tell parents that when your child first learned how to walk, how many times did your child fall down? Were you there holding a mat saying that, oh, wait, before he falls down, let me put a mat down?
Yes, people do. These days, people do. Maybe you and I fell on the ground,
Oh my,
but
I
these
have
days,
my children.
and a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
they have a matting on the floor because the child's learning to walk or crawl.
yeah, but that's absolutely crazy. But yet the child is going to fall. Maybe he's not going to hurt, but he's going to fall. And every time he falls, he's going to learn how to stand up. But if
Yes,
he doesn't fall only, where is he going to learn to stand up? So the
correct.
day when life throws him down, he doesn't know how to stand up
He
because
doesn't know actually.
not allowed him. And that's when he looks at it as a complete failure.
Yes,
When
and these are pass on emotions which are coming. Yes,
yes,
because the adult feels whatever I felt as deprivation, but that was not deprivation.
yes,
If you have played in the open ground, if you have lived a simple life, that was not deprivation. If you've lived without gadgets, that was an error. And
Yeah.
because of that, you have much more skills which the present generation doesn't have. You
Right.
are much more imaginative. You have that caliber to think out something. You know, the jugar brain, which out of no resources can create things, right? But which today's child cannot, because he doesn't need to think, he doesn't
It-
need to ask, he doesn't need to discover or wonder or even imagine, oh, how can this thing be, because everything is spelled out clearly in front of him. And if
True.
he can't, then he would cry and say, oh, look, they are asking me to think, they are asking me to do. How do I
True.
do it? So, this is something which an adult needs to be aware of. Give us
Yes.
some examples to actually help this adult who is still not getting aware about the emotions, because we'll get little, now we have to step into a little more complication. I mean, we may begin with some of the basic emotions like anger or irritation, but then now we have to go in the parenting role into a little more depth, where these complicated emotions which will not sustain the child in difficult situations later. So
Okay.
tell us.
Every expectation that you have for your child, okay, before you spell that expectation, okay, you are going to ask yourself, whose expectation is this?
True.
Is this mine, or is it my husband's, or is it my child's?
Right. So
Right?
I think we can give them a tool like a notepad and a pen always. And before any kind of expectation comes in, do not just accept it in your own head and say, I want my child to be like this, I want my house to be like this, I want my child's school to be like this, and his playground to be like this, and etc. But just put it down.
Yes. Right? Another thing is that first and foremost, tell yourself that no parent is going to ever wish bad for their child.
Absolutely.
Okay, whatever you can give your child, okay,
Mhm.
is the best in your capacity.
Yes.
So first and foremost, stop running for what is best in the world, because what is best in the world may not be best for your child, right? So we always have this, my child should go to the best school, my child should have the best of luxuries, my child should have the best, my child should have the best. But what is this best? Can anybody please define this best for me?
Yeah.
This best is being defined by you in your brains. You have defined this whole thing. What is best? What is best for you is not best for me. So, how is that the best?
Correct.
Right? So, ask yourself these various questions. When we again getting back to our topic, what is conscious parenting? Conscious means getting aware of it in the right here and now. It's not about tomorrow, it's a here and now. Ask yourself that if I'm doing this, what is my child benefiting from it? Please ask yourself that question. Have I ever thought, what does my child want, or am I just saying what I want from my child? Right? And if my child wants 10 things which I can't provide to my child, am I going to set out in the world outside to get those 10 things which my child is asking, or will I make my child understand that learn to be happy with what you have?
Right.
Yes. Instead of feeling that, oh, I can't give this to my child wants this, but I can't give this to my child. Your child's needs and demands are never going to stop. Yes. And often have this discussion as parents. Talk to each other. Ask that, our child wants this. What do you have to say? Right? Instead of talking with your friend, okay, about your child and what you can give your child, please talk to your husband, because you both are the provider of that child. You are the one who's going to be able to provide, right? So ask yourself that, why am I doing this?
Absolutely.
Is it a need? Is it a luxury? What is it?
Yes.
Am I transferring my dreams to my child? Yes. Am I transferring my beliefs on my child? The child has to develop his own beliefs, which he will learn
Absolutely.
from you. But he has the choice to choose, right? And again, I come back to the whole thing that every child has a choice.
Yes.
and he has to be given that choice, right? So I would want to the parents to reflect, can they be the best at everything?
Very true.
Can you be perfect with everything that you have done? Do you punish yourself if, suppose, you have tried to make a dish but it turned out to be a complete flop? What is a punishment you give yourself? If you're running a business and if you incur losses, what do? You punish yourself. But this one child, if he fails in a particular subject or in one test, he has been his gadgets are taken away from him. He's been asked to sit and study for, and he's been told that it's such a disgrace that he's not been able to cope. Uh,
Yes.
these are small things I would want parents to reflect, Ishita, because somewhere we are only making the children so competitive that at a point of time, if your child is not able to handle that stress, that pressure, they give up.
So here I would like to add something. Being competitive is not bad, but as you said, the belief system has to be in the right way, and it has to sprout. The seed has to be planted of that belief system of being ambition. This
Yes,
is an ambition that I'm following, and now I'm ambitious about this particular goal, and I need to work. Now this is a seed which I'm planting, and this has to be a democratic process right in the childhood, right in
yes,
the toddlerhood. And it has to be, it's like a self improvement journey. It's what happens is actually in the school going years, or in the process of studying, suddenly, when a parent kind of, expectations come in the form of the figurative numbers or the grades or something, which is again more like a comparison.
of course, of course.
Like, look at the child, he doesn't seem so smart, he can barely speak, but look at his grades.
Yes,
Okay, so it's like that, and there are so many more comparisons which I don't want to get into, but actually it's a journey backward. It is
yes,
not something, usually people say, oh, we'll become competitive only when we are in so and so class, or for so and so subject, okay, or in such and such thing, right?
right,
So it is not like, it is a personality.
right,
Everything that you do, if you want to bring a particular amount of excellence or perfection, and you enjoy doing in that way, then neither the child is burdened, neither the entire atmosphere, and then it's a journey of the entire family, that
exactly,
whatever we do, but the child also learns. Oh, whatever I've seen my dad doing, he never leaves it midway, and he always has a unique way, and he does it with such immaculation and perfection, and I've
right,
learned that from him, and I want to do it because of that. So this is that emotion which we need to share, not
exactly.
like, oh beta, you have to be the best. That's a vague term, as you said.
So generally, when we think about competition, Ishita, there are two things which we are going to explain the child. Okay, one
Yes.
thing is that the competition is with you. So
Right.
if in this test you've got an 8 out of 10, in the next test we need to get either 8 or we need to go above 8. We will not fall below 8. Okay,
Right.
that's competition with myself. The other thing you have to tell your child that leave the results. You given your 100%. The results are not going to determine anything, but your efforts are going to determine everything. So,
Yes.
at, when you get the results in your hand, you should not say, I wish I had done a little better,
True.
right? So, that is the spirit you need to bring into your child. And whatever you do, give your 100% in
Yes.
whatever. So, these are basic things we teach our child, and that is going to come when we ourselves demonstrate that.
Right.
Right, it depends. If I suppose, if the dad has had a bad day at office and he's some major incurred some major loss, he comes home and he's in a real foul mood. Okay, and mom says, don't talk to dad today, don't bother him, he's just, he's gone through a lot of loss. What are you telling your child? That when you go through loss you have to sulk,
Correct.
right?
Correct. Yeah.
So these are very small things, which we have to be conscious that how are we and what is our belief system. See, this all comes from that belief system that what are we. So being competitive is not a bad thing. Being competitive is one of the traits which allow you to be successful. But
Yes.
what is the competition with? If you're going to tell your child that you have to get better marks than him, then it's
No,
gone.
you need to work with habits. Like you
Yeah,
said, your emotion is a part of your habit. Right.
right,
Similarly, if you want achievement or competition or you're marks driven, it has to be a habit. Every day, if you sit down to do certain tasks together, naturally outcomes will come. And
yes,
as you said about this thing, not only like you this example, the mom telling I am in a bad mood, so don't disturb me today. Or sometimes two siblings having a fight, and
right,
a common thing, oh, he's the elder one, so you do this, you are the younger one, so you do this. So there are certain set rules which are unformed. It's never democratically formed, okay, it's never visible to the child that this is the rule, but it is implied. And
right,
then that becomes the child's belief system, because they found this is the natural social justice that is delivered to the children.
right.
Okay,
And
so
it's
these are again part of emotions.
I'll share one small example. What happened today with me? Okay, with the CBSE board and the ICSE board deciding not to take exams and going with the prelim marks and
Yes.
things like that. My son, we were just having a general conversation because he's in grade 10, right? So we were just having a general conversation, and then he's telling me that, you know what, I will have this one thing which will always pinch me. I said, what's that? So my daughter had scored well in her ICSE board, and he felt that he wanted to score either as much as her or more than her. Okay. So this now won't happen because, if I'd given the paper, it would have happened, but now it will not happen. So I said that, why is it so important? Why do you think it's so important? So he said that because people are going to see it that ways. They're going to say, oh, you know what, she's much more cleverer than me. I said, you know what? I don't know what the world thinks about you. What you think about yourself is very important for me. Do you think that you are dumb if you don't get a 90 plus? Because if you think that ways, then there is something really wrong. If you've started saying that these numbers are going to define you as a person, then
Mm,
we are into big trouble,
yes.
right? And that's how we have learned, right? So you see, numbers can drive anybody mad, whether it is the weighing scale, whether it is your pay scale, whether it's your bank balance, right? So these numbers can drive you crazy.
Absolutely.
So if we just let go and say that it's just a number, and this number has nothing to do with me. I said 10 years down the line, nobody's ever going to ask you that what did you get in your 10th. Nobody cares, right? So these are the things the child goes through. They go through it every single day. But if now my conscious was not clear, if I was not conscious about this, or my belief system was that no, my son should get something in 90 plus, and my son has to get 90 plus, it's like a social medal that I will how will I tell others that my son has not got 90 plus? Then it would have bothered me, and I would have been able to relate with him, and I would have started with him, I would have started crying, right? But it's what
Right.
is your belief system? What do you think is important? And that is why I wanted to dedicate this 1 hour only to tell the parents that get your logic straight, get your belief system straight. You can't have two sets of belief system, one for yourself and one for your children.
And that's what most people do.
Yes.
And
So
they said, I never projected it, I never passed it on to him.
no, and half the time there is no pressure. We are not at all pressurizing our child.
Yes.
Your actions, you're not verbalizing it, but your actions, right? So every time that your child comes to you saying that, oh, I've done this, and you say, but you could have done better. Hello, first tell him, wow, very good job done.
Yeah.
So
A
we
simple statement at home, very casually sitting and saying, देखो एक हफ्ता बाकी है, पता नहीं ये क्या करेगा, कुछ दिख तो नहीं रहा है, एग्जाम आने वाला है. That kind of a very, you may think it's a very casual statement, but you're defining again somebody, you are tagging somebody. So
True.
it's that important. But and in that casualness in the home front, there is a lot of talks like this which gets
Yes.
imprinted permanently in the person's personality.
True, absolutely. We generally just say, अरे इससे तो कुछ नहीं होने वाला है, ये तो कुछ नहीं कर पाएगा, पता नहीं लाइफ में करेगा क्या करेगा। अरे how are you deciding his life from now? On what basis? Just because he is not good in school? How many of them have been good in school and been successful in life? Well, we can take out a survey and we will fall on our face to know that it's not true,
Yes.
right? So we are the ones shaping our children, right from the time that child has come into your arms till the time the child even gets age 40 years old. Your one negative statement can be a disaster which you can't even think and imagine. I often tell parents, Ishita, that your one word can play the role of a Brahmastra also in your child's life. Because for your child, you're the world. If you don't believe in your child, nobody can believe him.
True.
And he doesn't believe in himself also. So that's where we get, the whole thing about looking after yourself. I often tell, that if suppose, okay, Ishita, question to you. If suppose you had 100 rupees, okay, and I was in need of money, and I told you, Ishita, please, I need money. Please, can you lend me some money? How much could you lend me?
I would ask you, as in, it depends. Like, if you are my daughter, I would give you the entire 100 rupees. I'm being very honest.
Yeah, yeah, of
Okay.
course.
So if you're my daughter, I would give you my entire 100 rupees and say, look, this is what mama has. But of course, now if it's your college admission and this is what mama has, I don't have anything more, but then I can survive because this is more important. But of
Right.
course, if it's a very casual thing and then she asks me whatever I have, then I definitely wouldn't give. Okay. Because then I would have to kind of reason and evaluate with her and talk it out with her. But again, if it's a friend asking who's in need, I would have to define and give certain portion what I need for survival, and
Yes.
then of course the surplus I can assist her with. Okay,
Right.
so that's the thing.
Either you can give nothing or you can give somebody 100 rupees, right?
Yes,
Can you give somebody more than 100 rupees?
yes,
No. You only have 100 rupees. Let's assume you only have 100 rupees.
but then I can give something more than 100 rupees also. Physically, I will give only 100 rupees, but in value, I can give more than 100 rupees also, Abiva.
Of course. No, Ishita, we are just now only looking at the physical aspect of it. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the physical aspect is that you have 100 rupee note
yes,
in your and somebody is asking for money. So the minimum you can give is 1 rupee and the maximum you can give is 100 rupees. You
correct,
cannot give more than 100 rupees because that's all that you have,
right,
right? So the same thing is with love. You can give only what you have, right? So if I don't love myself enough, if I don't have that love feeling within myself, if I have a lot of competition in myself, if I have a lot of anger within myself, I will give exactly what I have,
right,
right? And that is the difference that we are talking about. That's where I wanted to get that. First introspect, what do you have in your that pot, which we call it feelings and emotions. What is there in that pot? So if somebody has to ask something, you're going to be able to remove what is there in the pot. You can't go somewhere else and get something for them.
right. So it brings us to square one, that we as parents need to have a certain kind of education.
Yes.
And because if we educate ourselves in parenting, only then we'll sit down to introspect. Because when you're putting this pot and you're asking us to check what is the depth of the pot and what is inside the pot, then I need to sit alone. I need to introspect. I need to see as a parent all those situations and how do I react, how do I respond, and thereby I can then start working on myself.
Yes, exactly. So the says awareness, right?
Hmm.
Awareness. pot. This is my pot. There's an awareness that this is a pot, and this pot has my emotions, my feelings inside, right? Now, the next is, after the awareness, you have an acceptance that yes, I accept that these are the few things which are there in my pot. I have anger, I have competition, I have jealousy, I have X, Y, Z. I have happiness, I have love, I have, you can name whatever you want in that, right? Now, the acknowledgement that I choose to give this to this person,
Right.
right? And it is your choice. Nobody has put their hands in your pot and taken out. You are the one who's giving it.
Yes.
Yes. So that is your choice. Now, if
But
you,
most of the time, Habiba, people don't choose. People react. That's why I said choose happens when you know how to choose and then respond to the situation.
no, Ishita, always have a choice and we choose the easy thing because the other choice is very difficult. Okay. So when I'm angry about it, when I'm very irritated, I have a choice to either lash out or then to just keep quiet. What is,
Now, Habiba, you need to give the parent the choice because he needs to learn to make the choice. You've just put the pot, and inside the pot, I now know the emotions. Now, tell us, how do I take the choice? Because till now, I only know how to react.
okay? So the point is that whenever you are faced in a situation which, so suppose, okay, let's talk about the pot and let's make it a little easier for our parents also. Okay, when somebody will ask me something, I will not just blindly put my hand inside the pot, not look inside whatever comes in my hand and give it. We are doing
Absolutely
that.
not.
We are doing that, right?
Yes.
So if I want to make a choice, then I will put my hand inside, I will see what comes out, and then I will make a choice whether I want to give this or I don't want to give it.
Or I put my hand back again and pluck out something else.
Right? But that is what we are getting, that you always have a choice, but we choose to take the easier one, right? So it's easy for me to snap, but it's very easy for me to stay quiet. They say, that strength is not in lashing out, strength is in keeping quiet.
Right.
The weaker person just lashes out.
But it is difficult to stay quiet, but it's much easier once you learn to stay quiet.
Very, that's the point, that whenever you're put in a situation, just do not react. Just take this back today, that if somebody's shouting at me or I'm getting irritated about something, I won't react till I have not introspected. I won't give an instant response to something.
Yes.
Sometimes the action and the reaction, when the action and the reaction happens, the action nobody sees, everything is on the reaction, right? And you say that, hello, my reaction was on the base of your action, right? But that reaction would be meaningless if you would have changed it. And the entire focus would then have gone only on the action,
True.
right? So we just need to be a little more smarter and a little more conscious about how we are handling our own self. Whether one question which I will ask all parents today is, do you really love yourself? And do you really love yourself unconditionally?
And if you don't, start,
Start
because
doing
it's
that.
important. And not only a child and parent relationship, Habiba, this goes for everything.
Of course, of
Even
course.
in their work front or family relationship, if you don't have, now this self love is not self loathing.
Yes,
It's not self loathing where I indulge in things, okay, but it's self respect.
of course. So there is a very
Okay.
thin line between self-love and being selfish. Very
Mm.
thin line. So self-love is protecting yourself from any harm. Okay. Selfish is protecting yourself by harming others. That's the difference between self-love and being selfish.
Yeah.
So you just have to love yourself unconditionally. If you are not able to love yourself unconditionally, you will never love your child unconditionally. You will never love the people who are around you unconditionally, because for you conditioning is very important. So
Yes.
that means that if my husband doesn't do a particular thing, that means that I do not love him. I will only love him if he does XYZ. I will only love my son if he shows this type of a stature,
And
right?
when you say this condition, suddenly a couple of very situation, like certain situations which are very common, especially very young children when they refuse to do certain things, parents always tell them, if you don't do this, mama aapse gussa ho jayegi, you
Yeah,
know, and daddy will not take you out if you don't do this. So right from childhood there is a barter system going on, and that
oh,
barter system is connected with how good you make me feel. You make me feel. It's
exactly.
not what I am feeling, but because of you, it is so. And then later it turns into that guilt behavior, you
Yeah,
know. So the mother would then begin with the nagging behavior. See, because of you, I have no peace of mind. Because
true.
of you, I don't have time to do this. And yet, I don't see any improvement in your school results.
Right.
Okay, I have sacrificed so much, yet you have done nothing for me. Then comes the guilt turn when the children are growing up.
Of course.
Yeah,
Have been told every time that, whatever you do for them, you make it count. You tell them,
yes.
oh, what have we not given you? We've given you the best of school, the best of education, the best of clothes, the best of vacations, the best of gadgets. Everything is the best, and this is what you are doing in return. You can't even get good marks, right? So these are things which prick. Just imagine your child telling you this after 20 years.
And they
What?
do.
Yeah, and what have I've given you everything. What else do you want at this age, right? So these are things which probably we do. See, as I said, all these things don't happen at a conscious level. They
Yes.
all happen at a subconscious level, because I'm sure parents don't want to get so nasty with their kids, right? It happens at the subconscious level, and it happens because we are irritated, we are frustrated, we have all those emotions which are not allowing us to function at the optimum. So
Hmm.
that's where you need to take charge of yourself, take charge
Very
of your
true.
emotions, take charge of your emotions, and understand why am I feeling that way. Take
Hmm.
help if you feel that my emotions are going out of control. These are
Another best thing would be, when parents are getting into a reflective practice of checking how I generally feel in certain situations. Okay, try to see, will this same emotion, if my child imbibes and I see him conducting himself with the same emotions with anybody else, will I be comfortable? Will I want that? So then it becomes easier for the parent to immediately do away or remove that emotion, because
true.
otherwise you may not have any external motivation as to, it's like, there, I have always been like this, I always have these kind of things. We
Right.
accept our negatives also so lovingly.
Yes, true. Absolutely. So that's where loving yourself unconditionally comes, right? I accept myself with all the positives and all the flaws that I have, and I take charge of myself to enhance my own positivity and also to change my flaws into positives. So these are the small things that we can do for ourselves. And if you can do things for yourself, you can do it for anybody. Help is first when you help yourself, and then you can help others.
Right. So, would you have a practice or a schedule or any other tips where the self-reflection journey, or identifying the emotions, and of course then much later comes removing these negative emotions? Do you have some further tips on that?
So the first thing is, you can have a time out and reflect. And you can reflect that, okay, what has happened today which has made me feel uncomfortable? What has happened today which has given me joy? Okay. So is happiness or joy because it's positive emotion? Does that mean that it cannot be negative, or it can be negative, right? So if I'm feeling joy, I am feeling happiness that my son came first in the race, and he could beat that boy who came first last year. What is that joy? That joy is with a negative.
Absolutely.
That reflection, and reflection is an everyday process, right? Like you and your husband can sit down and reflect that what is it that has not gone today, which is great. And not only about your child, about yourself also, with each other also,
Yeah,
right?
that's a beautiful thing, collaborative reflection.
That where's the communication? See, today, there, the one of the pillars of a healthy marriage is communication. And
Hmm.
when that communication happens about yourself, reflecting that what is it that today was not so great, being able to sit and talk, is it's reflection together always helps, so it's about that point of time that you can sit and reflect,
Right.
right? One thing is that you need to sit and reflect and make a note of those reflections, right? So
Very
we make
true.
we make a note of those reflections, and we see that some of our reflections are repetitive in behavior,
Hmm.
and we will only come to know if we have made a note, because then when we'll slim through the pages, we'll get to know, oh, this is repeating again and again. So is this my belief system which I need to change?
Yes.
Is it a habit that I have formed? Right? And that's where you will be able to take charge of your own emotions. Second thing is, please do every day something that makes you happy. A conscious effort to do something that makes you happy. Right? And the third thing that I would suggest all parents to do is, which I personally do it, and I find a lot of that, our inner self wants compliments. Everybody likes compliments. Like, who doesn't like compliments? So if you dress up well and you go out, you want somebody to tell you that, hey, you're looking damn nice today, right? And you're constantly waiting for that one person to tell you that, right? But what I do is that when I get dressed, I go to the mirror and I tell myself, hey, Habiba, you're looking damn nice today. I've given
The
that
wait
compliment.
is over.
Then I don't care whether somebody's told me that or not. I know it. And if somebody tells me that, it's an addition to that. So
Or
it's not.
else somebody may speak vice versa and it wouldn't affect you because you can then shrug off your shoulders and go.
Means that's your way of looking at it. Yeah, I think I don't need your validation whether I look nice or not.
Yeah.
Right? So every day do this one practice, which is also another exercise of self-love, is that, if you look at this mirror, see whether you can make eye contact with yourself. It's very difficult to make that eye contact with yourself.
And sustain that eye contact for as
Sustain
long as you can, taking it to the next level.
sustain that eye contact and give yourself a compliment.
Yes,
Give yourself that compliment, and you see how your life will change, how the aura around you will change, because everything then will be very beautiful.
true.
And then parenting will not look like a challenge. It will happen so easily, and you will be able to raise confident, successful children.
Yeah.
So
it
yes.
it is then not, it is then not you raising a child. Okay, we generally use this term though as part of contextual language, that a parent raises a child, but basically you don't raise, because
No.
I guess somewhere historically the language came in, because in those days children were actually raised like cattles. Okay,
Yes.
cattles are raised, children are not raised, right? So
Right.
you don't do it with anything of that sort, but what you actually do is that you are a role model.
Yes,
So
of course.
if as a parent you are confident, you are calm, you are at peace with yourself and everything around you, everything need not be perfect to be at peace with it. Everything can be absolutely disorganized, in turmoil, yet out of that you become one organic whole. You learn to be happy, you learn to be peaceful. That's a different aura which the child will naturally imbibe.
Yes, true, very.
Yes, so it's a persona that we are trying to work when we're talking about reflection.
So when you say reflection, and if you look at the mirror, your children are your reflection. Now, if you look
Yes,
at reflection and you don't like that reflection, then there's something wrong with you and not with that reflection. So your child,
true.
is nothing wrong with the child, right? So there's something absolutely wrong.
Correct. And also, like you said, the validation, as we don't expect validation coming from others, we mustn't groom our children to look for validation externally, because
Right.
a lot of households we see children are brought up, so when you said this, what did that auntie say? What did your teacher say? Did your teacher, did that auntie, did that bhaiya appreciate you? Okay.
Right.
You are coaching and telling the child, look for validation.
Yes.
Okay. Rather, why can't we just say, oh, you said this? You said it in front of them? Lovely. We
Right.
don't stop at that. Okay.
Yes.
Just saying itself is great, not how the others kind of validated what you said.
True. So one thing, Ishita, I would like to add over here, how our unconditional love turns into conditional love in the minds of the child. Okay. When the child is born, okay, the child doesn't have to do anything to be hugged and kissed.
Right.
The second person picks him up in his hand, and there's such a cute baby, will hug him, will kiss him, will pamper him, right? Now, as the child starts growing up, these hugs and kisses either become a ritual or they become as a reward for doing
Right.
something. Okay, so there are many parents who tell me that no, we every day hug and kiss our child before they go to school. That's a ritual. You've not done it with any affection. There's a normal ritual that you're following, right? Or you will hug and kiss your child when he's done something really great and that's made you happy. When
Yes.
you just gone and sat beside your child and given him a hug and said that I love you.
Or maybe after the end of the day, you've just gone and put your head on his shoulder and say, oh, I had a tiring day today.
So these are the things which make them realize the child says, अरे अभी तक तो प्यार बहुत आसानी से मिलता था अब तो कमाना पड़ रहा है अब ऐसे नहीं मिल जाएगा उनसे प्यार right so this is the change and the drift we can make
Right.
so
So,
yeah
do
I
you
hope
have another story before we part for today evening?
not that something's really hitting my head a lot but just I would just like to say that with parents okay your child is like that seed that you have put into the in the pot right and you need to plant it you need to water it you need to nurture it but the over nurturing part is not something that you need to look at right and the whole thing that if my if the water that I'm planting is going to be dirty or if the manure that I'm putting is a rotten one then my plant is not going to survive and you are that water and that manure to that plant so however you are going to reflect on what type of a plant that is growing so it's all about your well-being your mental health your unconditional acceptance of your own self right? And that will give and shape that plant into a beautiful tree tomorrow. So it's all in your hands. And if you realize that what is the power of you as a parent and what is your role as a parent in that personality of your child, you'll probably invest 10 times amount in yourself than you're doing it on your children because the investment needs to be on you and not on your children. The focus is you and not your children.
Because it's going to naturally pass on to them.
A natural thing. It's just a natural process that happens, and you really don't have to make the efforts, right? So, the sunlight throws his light on the moon, and the moon shines, right? The moon has nothing to do.
Mm.
So, it's your light which will throw on them, and they will shine. So, it's up to
Very
you.
true.
It's up to you how you want to be looking after yourself, and that's why we thought that let's dedicate this time for parents to understand that enough of talking about how to raise children and how to bring up the best in our child. First, let's bring up the best in us, and the child will automatically be the best.
Right. So
So
it's the home that is going to be shaped by the homemaker, and the
yes,
homemaker is both the mom and the dad.
yes, of course. Please don't say homemaker because homemakers nowadays is only moms.
No, homemaker is both the dad and the mom. And every other person, even the child, is the homemaker. And every other member of the house, whoever stays in there.
Yes,
All right.
exactly. And even in the extended family, even if you have grandparents, they play a vital role in. And sometimes, we can't tell our grandparents, we can't tell our parents that, what, we can't be doing this, we can't be comparing. But if you are not comparing and if you are overlooking that thing, it's just going to be okay, so don't start focusing, or you also don't do this. See, they have their mindsets. Okay, we are not going to challenge their mindsets right now, but for your child, it's only you, and it's only you, the world, their world.
Yeah. So again comes to the basic saying that let's not run to change others, people
Yes,
around us, not even our own child, because we always feel I can change things around me. Let's begin the change with ourselves. That's the only thing that we can actually change. Okay.
yes,
And the
yes,
rest of the things falls in place with the impact of this change. So,
exactly,
as parents today, when we took up this topic of how to craft the emotional well being of children, it always begins with conscious parenting. And conscious parenting is only about crafting me first, and thereby, naturally, the child gets crafted. And I'm constantly using the word crafting, crafting, crafting so that they understand it is a lot of tool, it's a lot of exercise, it's a process, it's a daily habit, and it's a lifestyle that we're looking at to bring about that change in the emotional behavior, right?
exactly.
And I would like to wish all our viewers happy parenting, and I'm sure by the third session people have started gathering a lot of inputs, a lot of ideas, and I'm sure Habiba and her tips would be able to shape your homes and your lives better. And with that hope, we shall come back again with another episode and another session with Habiba. And thank you so much for joining us, Habiba.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. I'm sorry, did you say something? The voice.